Welcome to the Moto Show, Week 2. I'm your host, Jim Holley. Alongside me, Paul Lorette. Hey, we got a lot to talk about this week. I mean, a lot going on in the racing world.
Yeah, it was a big weekend. I thought MotoGP was pretty interesting. I think a lot of people have maybe been thinking that Casey Stoner was going to figure out a way to screw this thing up, but I don't think that's the case. I think he's on the best bike, and I think he's doing the job. I think it's going to be hard to beat him.
I was happy for Dovizioso to get second, but the most guy I was rooting for to get on that podium, Simoncelli, because he always seems to maybe throw it away. You know, he's had podiums before,
exactly.
But he throws it away.
He's qualified well, and he's been up there, but he's kind of made some dumb mistakes, I think, and I think he's that type of guy that I think once he has that breakthrough, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be there every single week.
Lorette, you were busy. You were in Everett, Washington.
Yeah, we were really busy. It was the second round of Endurocross for the pros. We went up to Everett, Washington, and Tadej Bluzuziak absolutely slayed the competition. He lapped up to third position. And so it was Tadej, Jeff Aaron was in second, and Cody Webb grabbed his first podium of the year. So it's really exciting for those guys.
Tadej's like the Ricky Carmichael when Ricky dominated, lapped everybody at Millville a few years ago. Paul, I got to ask you some things at Unadilla. I was surprised to see Justin Barcia. He made a debut on the 450 for the factory Honda. He comes away with a 3-3, but Dungey was a little bit upset with him.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to see that kid come up and even mess with you a little bit, but I think Barcia I was impressed. I mean, I thought going in that he'd be, top 6 or 7, but to be where he was, it's like, wow.
Villapoto comes away with a 1-1. He's on a roll.
Yeah, he's going to be, I think it's going to be a little difficult for those guys to beat him at this point, but there's still some racing to go.
All right, we're not perfect over here at the Moto Show. I made a mistake last week. Justin Bogle making his debut, I said, in 2012. Well, that was for the Supercross season. He made his debut in the outdoors last week, filling in for Justin Barcia on the Geico Honda team, and he comes away with 5th overall with a 6-6.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to see that, at least with Honda, they're kind of moving those guys up and bringing another guy in to take that guy's place, and there's some rides that are available for those young kids, and as long as they continue to make the most of it, like they seem to be doing, I think that's a trend that we'll continue, to move on with.
All right, well, we're going to move on here. We got to take a break. We got to take care of the sponsors. Stay tuned with us. We're going to take a break and make sure that you don't scroll through the commercials because we got some good ones. JT, a lot of old vintage racing, Matrix. It's nice, and even Paul from Cycling is a good one.
Stay tuned for the Week in Racing and KTM's Kurt Caselli, and later Nate Adams.
The Moto Show with Jim Holley, brought to you by JT Racing, making history again. And Matrix Concepts, it's what the factory teams use.
In second, Bailey in first.
Welcome back to the Moto Show. Now we're going to go around the world for some racing highlights. But let's go to New Berlin, New York for Unadilla, round 9 of the AMA Outdoor Nationals. We're going to start off with that 250 class. And what a statement Dean Wilson made with a 1-1 to win his first overall. It took him 9 rounds to get there, but he did it. And let's take a look at some of these highlights of Moto 1 here. Here's the start here, and it's treacherous there. We got 40 guys racing into that right-hander there, but there it is. The man who runs that red number 1 plate, he is leading the points. Dean Wilson finally went 1-1, and he was a happy camper. Right behind him was Blake Baggett, and then sitting in that 3rd spot was Eli Tomac. Eli Tomac got a great start for once.
To go through the whole season so far and not win an overall was So it was kind of starting to make me a bit angry. So to get the win felt really good.
Let's go on to the 450 class where some guy was making his debut on that factory Honda, and that was Justin Barsha here. We're going to see the start of it. Look at Reedy leaning over, leaning on Alessi a little bit there, and these guys are going to race down in and talk about 450 power going in that first turn. But there he is, number 17. Justin Barsha gets that hole shot. You need a good start at Unadilla because you got to remember, a lot of rocks there on that track. But the man of the day was Ryan Villopoto with a 1-1, followed up by a 2-2, Ryan Dungey, and in that third was Justin Barsha with a 3-3, but these guys had a heck of a battle.
Didn't get hole shots today, but was right up there in the top 5 and just worked my way through. You know, it seemed pretty easy just to get through the guys, and I don't know if that was just me or the bike just helped me to go where I wanted it, and it, you know, wasn't struggling with anything like along with the bike.
One man who's sitting 6th in the points, unfortunately, will not be with us in Southwick for round number 10, and that is the KTM Red Bull team of Andrew Short, breaking a wrist and 2 elbows in a testing crash in California.
Round 2 of Endurocross rolled into Everett, Washington for the second round of Endurocross for the pros. As you can see here, our track gave our riders fits. Blasting off of the start, Tadej Bluzuziak grabs the hole shot and absolutely ran the most convincing race we have ever seen him. That left-hand rock turn, so many headaches for the riders out here. And again, that's Mike Brown hitting Cody Webb. That's Justin Soule, number 3. Tadej Bluzuziak going through that wood pile like it was the easiest thing out there. Tadej Bluzuziak taking the checkered flag and then celebrating on the podium.
We're going to go over to Belgium, to the Belgium Championships. Unfortunately, for Clement Desalle, the Belgian who sits 2nd in the MX1 Championships, he's going to get off here. A nasty first turn crash there. The Russian Barbashev getting into it with him here. You're going to see on this slow-mo that Clement Desalle on the yellow bike with the red jersey there, he gets into it. A bunch of riders go down. You're going to see the KTM right there, Max Nagel, the bike going over. It was just a nasty crash, unfortunately, for Clement Desalle, breaking his left shoulder. He's going to be out. Take a look at some of these still pictures. Desalle trying to scrub it there. Barbashev getting into him, landing in him right there. And then look at this shot here, Nagel, and watch this, because 211 on that KTM is going to be right in front of your face. And I want to thank the guys at Roversburg Production for giving us this great footage. He must pay his camera guys a lot because they were on top of this.
Greg Hancock, the lone American in the FIM Speedway Series, went out to Sweden to continue his lead, but it was Jaroslav Hampdel from Poland, Andreas Johnson from Sweden, Kenneth Bier from Denmark that went 1, 2, and 3 on the podium. It was Greg Hancock who finished 8th. And speaking of Speedway, I have to give a shout out to Shea Bendikowski, who in San Bernardino, he finished 2nd in the juniors under 200cc class. Way to go, pal.
Let's move on to the Czech Republic. Bruno here, where Casey Stoner, the man leading the MotoGP, he wins another one there, but he had a great battle behind him. His teammate, Andre Dovizioso, finishing up 2nd. There's Andre, number 4, right behind him. But Andre had his hands full with Marco Simicelli. And finally, we see the Italian, and I'm not talking Valentino Rossi. There he is, Marco Simicelli, gets a podium. I've been pulling for this guy all year.
One of the toughest ISDEs in recent history just finished up in Finland. With rain, exhausting special tests, mechanical problems, and the toughest off-road riders in the entire world, they all met in Finland riding nearly 1,000 miles of trail and MX special tests over 6 days. Kurt Caselli, Colton Udall, Russell Bobbitt, Nate Caney, Destry Abbott, and Jimmy Jarrett all made up the U.S. World Trophy team, who finished in 3rd. And speaking of ISDE, fresh out of Finland, top American, Kurt Caselli.
Nice to see you, man. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hi.
How are you?
Good to have you.
Nice to see you.
Let me scoot down without sliding. So, top American, 3rd place on the podium. Tell us about how was Finland?
It was fun. That was my 10th 6 days that I've been to, and actually was one of the tougher ones. I mean, we've been to a few in New Zealand and all over that it rained and it made it real muddy and just kind of tough. You know, you're riding for 8 hours a day and soaking wet. So it rained quite a bit. I mean, it basically rained every day, but the last day which was nice, but it still made it was tough, just long days. I hate riding when I'm wet, so
Yeah,
it wasn't the best.
no, that's crazy. And you're going from trails to the special tests, which are motocross tests. How do you make that transition?
Yeah, 6 days is, I mean, it's different. It's a different format than anything we have in the United States. So when we get over there as a Team USA, everything's new for us. The European riders, they do that all year long, enduro and stuff. So you have to basically trail ride for an hour, just kind of cruising, and then all of a sudden you're at a special test, which is just a track kind of laid out with ribbon or whatever it is, and you know, anywhere from 6 to 12 minutes long, and you're just wide open for a lap. So you kind of got to mentally get ready as you're trail riding before the test starts, and then once the test starts, it's like just wide open, sketchy. I mean, you get one lap and that's it. And the track changes so much. I mean, you do a special test twice in one day, and so the first time you see it, it's not that bad. Ruts are pretty good, but by the next lap you get around, there's been 600 bikes through there, and especially when it's muddy, it just gets like torn up so bad that, I mean, you're hitting huge ruts and kickers, and I'm just like full sketch pretty much every time. So,
how do you prepare for something like that coming from the high desert? You know, you have that, you're out in the desert training. I mean, how do you duplicate that? I mean, do you take a garden hose and water the track and have 600 of your buddies come over and it changes?
Nah, I mean, yeah, I grew up in the desert and it's all sand, hard-packed stuff, so riding mud is not my forte. You know, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I think just trail riding's the best thing. I mean, I go do moto during the week and go trail riding quite a bit, kind of everything. And once you get there, you just kind of have to adapt as soon as you can on the first day or whatever it is, and get used to the terrain, get used to the test. And you know, if you're a good motorcycle rider, you can figure it out. It doesn't really matter what you're riding. So I don't like mud and I don't like riding when it's raining, but whatever, I don't really have a choice.
Well, that was my next question. You have a special test, the motocross section. Ricky Diedrich made that transition. We saw Dross Strangle. He made his debut last weekend. Is there any chance you're going to ride an AMA National in that 450 class?
Everybody tells me I should, all my friends, and I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. I grew up riding off-road and only really started riding motocross when I was 17 or something like that. So I'd like to. It's just opportunity hasn't really come up, and I've been so busy this year with different races that adding to the list would be just something else that I have to kind of think about. So I don't know. I want to do a national for sure before I'm done racing.
I see the gleam in your eye. I see the smile, Paul. He's chomping at the bit. He wants his shot at an outdoor national.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I just want to go have fun. I don't care really how I do. Try to qualify and just go ride with those guys would be cool. And just to say that I've done that was kind of like my goal. So we'll see what happens. I think I have a few more years and see where it goes.
Back to the ISDE for a minute. The Americans finished third. Do you see a progression there where it's getting a little bit closer? Can we get to that top level?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. Yeah, I should say yeah. The ISDE has been around since 1913, 86 years. It's like one of the longest running motorsports events in the world. And it started in Europe, and we really didn't start getting into it as Team America until the, I think, 70s, 80s, something like that. So, it's, I mean, as a trophy team that we got third, we've only got third twice before that and a second once before that, and that's it. So we've been on the podium 4 times.
It's got to be a disadvantage having to go there. I mean, if you're from Sweden and you're going to Finland, no big deal. It's like going to Arizona or something. But do you think packing up all the stuff, taking everybody over there, just the logistics of it makes it difficult?
And jet lag.
Well, right.
Yeah, I mean, everything. Obviously, the Europeans have they're favored, to do well. And the biggest thing is just the format. Like, we don't do that format over here at all. I got Destry Abbott, who's known for desert racing, and Russell Bobbitt, who does national enduros. But then in the 6 days, it's a completely different format from anything. So all of us are trying to catch up, I guess, when we first get there, and figure it out. And so that's the biggest deal is just, it's new for all of us. For those guys, for the Europeans, it's, it's basic.
Normal.
So.
Let me ask you this. You know, I'm going to go back to on any Sunday when Malcolm Smith was over there and he was changing tires and all that.
Yeah.
You still got to do all that?
Oh yeah.
So you got to be a mechanic.
Yeah. Which is I wish we could have I wish we could have some more moto guys on the team because they're really good at sprints. Doing 1-lap sprints, 8-10 minutes, and.
But they're not good at being a
But
mechanic.
yeah, the problem is you get 15 minutes at the end of the day to work on your bike, and so in 15 minutes you're supposed to change a front tire, back tire, your oil, and an air filter.
In 15 minutes.
Yeah, and that's just like a normal day. You ride for 8.5 hours, and then you got 15 minutes to work on your bike, change both tires, and that's with mooses. We don't run tubes because you'll
Makes
get
it
a
even
flat.
harder.
Yeah, so you got change front and rear tires, and then anything else that, brake pads, we were doing brake pads every day, chains, sprockets, and you're on a time schedule, so really you get, a few minutes here and there throughout the day, but then most of your work on the bike is 15 minutes at the end of the day, and that's it. So
When you go through tech, though, is it still they seal the motor and the parts and they mark them so you can't change? Yeah.
Yeah, the frame's painted, the motor, your hubs, you can't change wheels, anything like that. So
wow.
It's a different type of racing, especially for us. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, I enjoy it, and hopefully we get to, like you said, get another good team in the next few years and just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been leading the effort for, a lot of off-road riders getting to the ISDE. Why is this event so important for you?
Well, really, it's like the Olympics of motorcycle riding, off-road racing. And that's where dirt bike started, was off-road. And then once it came over here in America, it turned into motocross, and there's all these different avenues. But I think it's just important to show the respect for the sport. Show up as a team, whether it's a good team or not. Just being there representing our country in the sport is a big deal to me. It's kind of where everything started, so we might as well stick to it.
There you go. Well, Kurt, I want to appreciate you coming on the Moto Show, and very interesting stuff to talk about, I mean, it's hard out there. We'll wish you the best of luck, man.
Yeah, Kurt, thanks so much.
Thank you.
When we come back, Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki's Blake Baggett.
For 40 years, we've always had that responsibility of covering everything.
Supercross, motocross, off-road.
Huge fan of MotoGP. You find your name in the back and you say, hey, I'm in cycle news.
I mean, when you see it in the format that it's in now, you're just like, wow.
The photography is exceptional.
It also allows us the use of video.
I've got it on my phone, my iPad, my computer.
When you're finished reading cycle news, you really know what happened.
In second, Bailey in first.
Currently second in points in the 250 class. He's had more wins than anybody else this year and recently has been named to Motocross of Nations. Please welcome Blake Baggett. Hi, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good.
I'm really glad you're here, but
Where's Jim?
we're missing our host.
Jim!
I'm so sorry. Jim? What is that? Oh my God. What is that?
No idea.
You like that?
Yeah, that's good.
Jim, I don't know what just happened.
Well, I got to ask you, what's the thing going on with you and Chupacabra, man? I mean, I see this, Jason and Jeff talk about it all the time, and this is some beast that sucks the blood out of goats?
I guess.
Do we get any footage of that? Do we got a picture of the Chupacabra? I want to see the Chupacabra.
Oh, that thing is heinous.
I resemble that a little bit. Maybe.
Maybe not. I was listening to the broadcast when Jason Wygant started calling you that. Do you have any idea where the nickname came from?
I guess Pingree started it. I'm really not sure. I'd never even heard of it.
We thought we'd have fun with it anyhow.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Yeah.
Hey, you've been killing it out there in the outdoors, man.
Yeah, I've had quite a few good weekends. Also a few bad ones that kind of set me back. So that's kind of why I'm not in the points lead right now, but just plugging away at it, and we still got 3 races to go, so I'm really not stressing on it. And then after that, there's MX Nations, so that's a big thing for me, and I just want to stay healthy for that one.
You mentioned the Nations. Paul's got you a little present. We went out and got you some things, you know. We're going to be there, you know. The Moto Show will be there.
That's for you.
Sweet. There you go. All right.
Where's
got
mine?
some flags.
Where's mine? Yeah, we got flags.
All right.
Team USA.
We got to wear this for sure.
How's that?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're patriotic here on the
Yeah.
Moto Show.
Well, now, Blake, the obvious thing is that there's the 450 class and then 250. You're going to be on the 250 for the Nations team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be on the 250, and then Villapoto and Dungy will be on the 450. They haven't decided which one's going to be MX1 and MX3 yet. So I really don't know what's going on with that. I wouldn't want to be the one to pick that. But I know I'll be running number 2, I'm pretty sure, and try to see what we can do on a 250 against all the 450s.
That's so cool. And you're going to you're going to the Nations the week after Paula. How do you get ready for that? It seems so quick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know much about it over there. I know that their racing schedule is a little bit different than ours, but I mean, racing's racing. We'll just go over there and see how it goes.
Man,
I'm just going by what I've been told.
Yeah, they just keep you going.
Yeah.
You've never been to Europe. I mean, this will be the first time you're crossing the pond.
Yeah, no, I've been to Canada, but I don't think that really counts.
That's North America.
All right, yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm flying over the pond.
Your mom and dad had to have been extremely proud of you. I know it's a big thing. We've flown together to some Supercrosses, me and your mom, dad, and your little sister. I mean, they had to have been happy.
Yeah, no, they're super pumped. I don't know if they're more pumped for the race or just to go over there and sightsee. I'm really not sure. But yeah, no, they're excited, and that's all that has been going on at the house lately, is just trying to figure out what to go see when we're over there. And I think we're going to stay over there for a week afterwards and see what's going on. But hopefully we win it first.
Paul, what do you think, man?
Were you expecting to be chosen, or was it a surprise to you, or were you pretty much like, hey, I'm the guy, I need to go?
Actually, I really didn't know. You know, there was a lot of talk, but nobody really came to me and said you're picked or you're not, and or even you're thinking about being picked or not. I just heard that they were going to take Kennard because he had more experience and he had done it before, and then well, as soon as he got hurt, which was really unfortunate, then all of a sudden it was like, well, you're for sure in now, but nothing was really confirmed until this past Friday before Unadilla.
That's pretty cool. Got to be excited for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it'd be sweet.
Do you think things are happening really, really fast for you? I mean, you came out of the amateur ranks and then just started going right into the pro ranks, and I mean, you're killing it. Is this all so overwhelming at all?
I mean, definitely it happened kind of fast. You know, I was kind of under the radar going into Hangtown and even into the Supercross season. My Supercross season wasn't that good. I had a few highlight moments. I won Daytona and then won the last round at Vegas, the East race. But outdoors is kind of, yeah, taking, I think, even myself by surprise a little bit and everybody else. So we'll just hopefully we can keep surprising them for the rest of it.
That's so cool.
From watching the races this year, it's like you seem to get off to a slow start, but then you seem really strong at the end. I mean, it's obviously you've got the speed and you need to maybe work on the beginning of the race, but I mean, you got to have some pride in being able to be that strong at the end. And I know you use Alden Baker this year. Is that a big part of that?
Yeah, definitely. I think Alden is a huge part of my program. I mean, he came on right before Supercross, so I didn't get actually that much training in with him before Supercross. It was kind of like a last-minute deal. So I definitely think my Supercross season would have probably been a lot stronger if I would have jumped on board a lot earlier. But outdoors, for sure, I mean, he has helped me tremendously. And I mean, we're still working on stuff. We're still trying to get better every day, every week.
Hey, I got to ask you, you know, we've talked, and I've been with you a lot on Supercrosses and planes and stuff, and something that you told me that you struggle with are the whoops. And I'm going to go out here a little Japanese. You know, you need some bigger King Tamas, and that's balls. You know.
Oh, thanks
Japanese.
for spelling that out for him, Jim.
I just, you know, you told me that, man. I mean, it takes balls to get across the whoops.
No, it definitely does. I mean, that's pretty much all it is coming in and committing. And you know, it's committing 2-3 sections the lap before, just knowing that you're going to come in and you're going to hit them as fast as you possibly can, come out of that corner, and you're not going to let off, whether the bike, the front end drops, it goes sideways, whatever it does. You're just not going to let off. And some weekends I had that, other weekends I didn't. So I'm definitely going to work on that after outdoors are over. Just whoops, 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 whoops. But we'll see.
Couple wins for you this year. I know the third one got away from you in Indy. A couple laps from the end, and it got away from you. I knew that was heart-wrenching for you. You wanted to get that third win.
Yeah, I definitely thought I had the ball rolling after Daytona, and then whole shot and won the heat race at Indy, and then whole shot and was leading the main, and then just made a not very smart decision and just kind of rode the edge of the track. And you can do that in outdoors, but you can't do that evidently in Supercross. Ended up taking out some hay bales and almost took out Sipes with me when I went over the hay bales, and then Bostrom pretty much ran over the hay bales that I'd put in front of me, so it almost claimed us all, which might have been actually pretty cool because then I'd have got up and still been right there with them. But yeah, we'll just work on being smarter, and you got to kind of stay in the center of Supercross. So you never know what's going to be in your way.
Well, we here, Paul, myself, Lorette, we want to thank you for coming on the Moto Show. We want to wish you the best of luck. 3 more rounds to go in that outdoor season, and go Team USA.
Yeah.
Next up, Eric Bostrom in the new Kawasaki ZX10-R.
Paul and Eric Bostrom check out the Kawasaki Ninja ZX10-R when we return, and later the destroyer Nate Adams.
Welcome back to the Moto Show. As editor of Cycle News, one of the cool things I get to do is ride street bikes. I get to test them, I get to ride them on the racetrack, I get to ride them on the street. One of the bikes that I've always liked riding is the ZX10-R from Kawasaki. This year's model, completely redone and even better. But you know what? I've dragged a guy up here that knows a little bit more about this motorcycle than I do because he's tested it and he's raced it. Let's meet Eric Bostrom.
Hey, Paul.
What's up?
I see ya.
Eric, what have you been doing? I know you tested this thing before Daytona. I know you raced it at Daytona. You fell down at Daytona, but we don't need to talk about that.
It happens.
What else have you been doing? I know the bicycling, and you're a busy man.
Yeah, bouncing around. But thanks for having me on the show. It's good to be back in the moto world. I've been pedaling my brains out. Ben and I are on the specialized test program. So
who's fitter, by the way, you or him?
He is, but
older too, right?
Older and fitter. I lie all the time, but he's just got it. Like. You know, I try hard, and then
I have that
he
same
beats
thing,
me,
by the way.
And then I try harder, and
Right.
he still beats me. And then he takes some time off, and I secretly train, and he still beats me, and I'm like, I can't get this.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But why don't you tell me a little bit about this? I know you've, like I said earlier, you've spent some time with it, and they have totally redone it. And it was already a motorcycle that takes your breath away for an average guy to go ride a bike like this. You're like,
yeah.
And tell me about it.
No, that's exactly it. Hopefully this isn't going to be the bike that absolutely takes your breath away, and that's the whole point of it. Hollywood asked, Eric, what's new about the 10? And I said everything. It's like the idea here is to control the power, because in the past the thousands would just keep getting more and more out of control, and they're so unuser friendly. And you look at all the race organizations when they drop the displacement, the lap times get faster, and or take lead out of the fuel, the lap times get faster. As the horsepower goes down, they get faster, and it's because they're able to put the horsepower where they want it, as opposed to just this huge bang of power. So the new 10 has this, the traction control that's aided by the torque control. So everything is being sensed, and then it sort of reads what's going on. And
Keeps the guy out of trouble.
Keeps the guy out of trouble and gives you the power when you can actually use the power. And that's where we, as racers, get to cheat and kind of have that advantage, because the bikes really are unrideable with a couple hundred horsepower out of them. The contact patch is, you know, the size of a quarter,
Right.
and you have 200 horsepower right here. It doesn't work.
How much, you did test it and you did race it at Daytona, and you haven't raced it since. I mean, is it something you'd like to get back on?
Yeah, of course. I mean, these things, it's difficult to describe. They are the funnest thing in the world, and then they slap you down and you go, man, that sucked. But you still want that, you want that rush, you know? It's just, and as a racer, it's bred into you. So I miss her for sure. She was good at Daytona. Unfortunately, we got cut a little bit short with a crash and then overheating a front tire in the race. So happens, but back to the bike here. Really, I think my favorite thing about the bike is just rideability, and that's where they've had to come a long ways, because the bikes do keep getting faster, which is really fun, and it's neat to be able to use that power. And the way it was going, the power wasn't really that usable anymore. It was just this rush that you're talking about inside, where you're like, oh my God, that thing takes my breath away, and then you put it in the garage and kind of like afraid of it.
Right.
And fortunately, the new bike here is not like that. It's soft, and then it becomes strong.
Yeah, you've got me excited about it. I'm looking forward to getting on this bike. I want to thank you for coming down, talking about the bicycles. Good luck. I hope you beat Ben.
Thanks, I need it.
We're going to be right back. Let's give this thing a go.
Don't go away. Nate Adams will be joining the Moto Show when we return.
Your typical road atlas will tell you how to get from point A to point B, but it won't tell you which way is the most captivating if you're on two wheels. A Butler motorcycle map does just that. Our maps show the best segments of road, and every road segment detailed in our maps has been ridden and rated by an owner of Butler Maps Incorporated. You also get the quality and durability of a waterproof and tear-resistant map that'll fold time and time again. The experience is as much in the journey as the destination. Butler Motorcycle Maps.
The Moto Show with Jim Holley has been brought to you by Husqvarna Motorcycles, Ride More, and Butler Motorcycle Maps.
Welcome back to the Moto Show. Now I want to introduce this guy, friend of mine, 3-time gold medalist. He is currently leading the Red Bull X Fighters. He's coming off of a win in Poland. He's got one more to go in Australia. Hopefully he can wrap it up again. Nate Adams.
Just shaking things up.
How you doing, baby? Good to see you.
Not bad.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Nice
Good to see you. You too.
You've never met him before, Paul?
Never, just
Never?
tonight. First time.
In the hallway
This
earlier.
guy's a star.
I know he is.
He's a star. I got to
Thanks,
ask
guys,
you,
making
though,
me feel good.
Hey, you know, I know you're a star in the freestyle world, okay? But Supercross, I know you've tried your hand at it a couple times. I know Chris McAvoy's helped you out there,
Yep,
and I know you've come away with some injuries, especially through the whoops. But are you going to try it again, or are you over it?
You know what? I think I'm done. I qualified in Salt Lake last year.
Right.
And I didn't get to ride. My bike was running bogging so bad. It didn't happen the way I wanted to, but I've heard enough things and spent enough money on it, and I'm like, you know what? That's enough. I mean, I got to where my Supercross skills are where I can win a speed and style event, so paid off somehow, so I'm pumped on that. It really built my riding through all that Supercross training and upped a lot of my skills, so I'm not bummed on it, but trying to go out and race again, I think I'm over it. I'll leave that to Blake and stuff.
What were you expecting?
Qualifying for a night show was all I wanted to do, just get out there, you know?
Yeah.
And I did in Salt Lake, but I pulled off in practice because my bike was just hiccuping and sputtering everywhere, and got back and I checked the sheet and I was like, there's no way. I was like, 27th? You got to be kidding me. I was like, that's good. I was like, I got a race, and it was just scrambling from then on out to get my bike running, and yeah, I just wanted to get out there and get in the mix and race a Supercross. That was it.
Is the whoops the hardest part? I mean,
for me, that was a big part of the learning curve. I just never went through that at all. I mean, by the time I was 14, I was fully into freestyle and never rode a Supercross track before I started, about 4 years ago trying. So it was a big learning curve. I mean, every mistake is pretty much a crash. So it was just, it took dislocated thumbs and bruised my ulnar nerve or whatever it's called, the funny bone. My arm was numb for about 2 weeks. It just, I'm sick of that. I'm ready to just do freestyle and win speed and style maybe, and that's it.
But you've had injuries before in freestyle. I mean, you know, back in '04, you broke the femur over in Italy. You've had 3 concussions in 1 week. 3 concussions in 1 week.
Yeah, it's not safe. But it's what I do. So Supercross is, it was just like supposed to be for fun, and it just, after a few years, it just became this grind. Like I have to finish what I started, and I'm just like, finally mentally, just like a few months ago, just threw in the towel, and I was like, I was already thinking about next year starting it, and I was like, you know what, I want an off season. I have no off season when I do Supercross, so I just roll from freestyle right into Supercross, right back into freestyle in February. So I'm just chilling this year. So I'll be look for pictures of me in scan section from the hills. So that's what I'll be doing.
I got to ask you though, Target, one of your sponsors.
Yeah.
They got the Shaun White line.
Yeah.
Are they going to have a Nate Adams line?
That's good that we're going to light that candle right now. I don't know.
Right.
There is no Nate Adams line, but
well,
maybe.
let's ask. Let's put that out right now.
I'm not helping right now. I'm such an idiot. I told you earlier I thought this was a radio show. I'm supposed to have a Target hat on. So when you see this Deaf Family logo, just think of the Target store near you. So
you got the glove? Maybe you can take the glove, you know, with the Target logo. You didn't bring that either?
I won Poland, so that's all I can say. I won Poland, and I had my hands up, but I forgot my hat tonight. I feel like an idiot. But you know what? Target's a great sponsor, and what they're doing with Shaun White, he's just killing it right now. So I get to hang out with Shaun a few times a year. So Target brings us together up to Winter X, snowboarding for a week and just hanging out, and so they're great. But I'm sorry, I feel like an idiot.
Can you go into any Target and just go in there and pull clothes off the shelf? You got
no,
a
you know,
Target
a lot
card
of people ask me that.
Yeah.
Moms and autograph lines are
Right.
like, so what's the deal with your Target sponsorship? All the moms want to know. But I get gift cards and free stuff in the mail from Target and checks. And that's it.
Checks.
Checks.
Yeah, checks are always
so
a good
they're
thing.
cool. They're down. They just want to help me out. They built my foam pit. All I had to do was buy the foam. They were the first to start branding the foam pit, the blocks. So they just want to be involved and help out their athletes. So
you mentioned those foam pits. I mean, some of you guys have caught those things on fire. Is there any chance
Not
I can
me.
get Paul? Maybe we can get him a bike and he can go to your house.
I got the flame retardant foam, so it's all good.
I don't think so.
You don't want to try a backflip into the foam?
Not without the checks.
I think I'd do it, just the thrill to try it. You know, I mean, it's got to.
welcome.
I mean, the first time you did, I mean, you don't do it obviously on a 450 right away.
No.
I mean, you start out on a little 50
I learned
and
it
go
on
to an 80.
BMX, then like
BMX.
XR70, and then just did it on my
BMX,
252
Paul?
stroke.
Maybe. So
Resi
when you
Matt?
started as a 14-year-old, there weren't foam pits, obviously.
No.
So it's just a slow progression of building confidence and doing tricks on dirt?
I'm kind of happy to say I was among, I think it was myself, Metzger, and Deegan that were the ones that learned flips without any foam pit. So never flipped into a pit. And it took a long time to get down, but I'm kind of pumped. I'm like one of the 3 dudes that did that. So.
Did you do it to mulch or what?
Yeah, bark mulch at Travis's house.
So we know, like on a daily
Yeah.
basis, the moto guys. I mean, they're training, they're going to the practice track. What's a week for you consist of? I mean, I'm not saying you don't train or anything, because I know you do, but is it as intense or?
That's kind of what, like, when I was about like 18, 19, I made the decision to kind of like, I was living with Hanson at the time, and not that he was training super hard, but I just like looked at that and I was like, if I did that and added that to my program, I could just be, it could just, let's see if it works, you know? And I started training and doing all that, and it does pay off. I mean, the mentality back then was, it was like anti anything established or training or doing what you're supposed to be doing, and started doing that, and I think a lot of guys just caught on. I mean, a lot of these freestyle events are all day in the sun from, practice starts at 9, you're doing runs at 11 p.m., you're wore out. So if you're riding a lot and training, you can withstand that. So.
Something else different
Wait a minute.
for you.
I have a
so
question.
So my week consists of training and riding, sorry.
Caddy.
Well, I want to talk about X Games.
Okay.
Because that was really cool. You were on the roster to do best whip.
Yeah.
But you didn't end up doing that.
I rode. Thanks.
Well, I was just kidding. Wait, no, I thought they took you on the best whip. That was one of my questions.
I got last 2% of the votes.
Well, you did great.
I was tweeting too.
Well, you walked away with 2 gold medals, so that was dumb. But yeah, so let's ignore that. Didn't say. But
it's all good.
Walking away with
2
golds. That's so rad. And you're one of the only Moto X riders to have done that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah.
I found that out today. Logan told me that. Pastrana, Metzger, and me. So that was pretty cool to find out just today. But it's just, I don't even know what's happening this year. I always work this hard, but it's just paying off this year. I don't know if it's something I've added to my program or whatnot, but I mean, just being able to win I don't know what's going to happen in Sydney, but being able to already have 3 X Fighters wins and 2 golds, and just to be able that they let me in best whip was cool, I thought. So it's just a great year. I don't really know what's it's like working out. It feels strange, waiting to just spontaneously combust or something strange to happen, but it's just working out. The hard work's paying off this year.
Where do you see freestyle in, say, 10 years from now? I mean, you've seen it progress over the years. Where do you see it in 10 years from now?
Not with me in it. That's for sure. I'll be chilling.
Paul will
by
be
then.
in it.
Oh yeah, he's coming over to ride the pit. You know what? It's just gonna keep going. There's always some kid that's better than you and is more willing and isn't as living as comfortably, as hungry for to have a course in his backyard or whatever. So Levi Sherwood. A few guys are just coming up strong. Josh Sheehan from Australia, he's double flipping. I had no idea he was even trying double flips, and he just ripped one out at X Games. I was like, where did that come from? So it's just gonna keep getting more. There's just gonna be more of what's going on. More front flips, more spins, more back flips, and more of the things you see right side up just executed perfectly upside down. And I don't know, stuff that's just mind blowing to me.
All right. Well, it's mind blowing that you came on the show.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you. We've wrapped up another show here at the Moto Show. We want to thank you guys for all your comments on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you check us out on themotoshow.com. For myself, Lorette, Paul, Nate Adams, Eric Bostrom, Blake Baggett, and the man, Kurt Caselli. He'll be up in Washington next weekend. Thanks for watching.
Set decorations provided by Autographed Collectibles. Visit them at signedandauthentic.com. Also, Pacific Panel Products and shop.retro.net.